We're squeaking. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. I understand the land acknowledgement is going to be done by Councillor O'Hare.
That's correct. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank Justin for reading the land acknowledgement in the past, and I want to encourage members of the Age-Friendly Committee to each take an opportunity to read the land acknowledgement. It's a small part of truth and reconciliation. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, the Hattaway, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of lands on which we live.
Thank you for doing that. Can I have a motion to adopt the minutes, adopt the agenda? I apologize.
And before we get to that, can we get to declaration of interest?
Oh, sorry. Thank you for keeping us on track. I apologize. Any declarations of interest? Okay, I don't hear any. Okay, so now adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion? Michael will move it. Marilyn will second it.
Excuse me.
Okay.
I have a problem with the agenda, item number 9.
Item number 9.
Regional Age-Friendly Forum on February 29th. Is that different from Niagara Older Adult Alliance meeting, February 29th?
No, sorry, that's the same thing. Sorry.
Okay, then it should be stated as such.
Okay. So we'll change that to, that's my fault. I'll assume full responsibility for that. Okay, I apologize and thank you for noting that.
Thank you.
So Niagara Age-Friendly Forum should be just renamed Niagara Older Adults Alliance Meeting. And that's my fault, okay? I apologize, thank you. So with that amendment, and that was my fault. That had nothing to do with staff, okay? That was my fault. Okay, I was doing things quickly. So now can I call the question with that amendment? All in favor of the agenda? Any opposed? Okay, I don't see any oppositions. Okay, now I want to call a motion to adopt the minutes, AFC-2024. Anybody want to adopt the minutes? Okay, Barb, Joey. Okay, any discussion on the minutes before I call the question? Michael?
Yeah, I'm going to be opposed to the adoption of the minutes. I do not believe those minutes from the meeting are accurate. I don't think the minutes are supposed to be a brief, concise synopsis of what took place. I was here 50 minutes for that meeting, and everything was a back and forth regarding the AFC 11-2023 to questions to the city clerk and to Councillor O'Hare, and there's just a very, very brief mention in the minutes, so it doesn't even say what was really discussed. It just says questions are directed regarding it. So I thought that could have been hashed out a little more to be more accurate. So I'm going to be opposed to adopting those minutes.
Okay, and although I 100% agree with you, I'm glad you brought up that objection, because I don't believe that the minutes reflect what was said and discussed. I
see I'm absent on that. I was there.
Pardon, Marilyn, I apologize.
I was at that meeting, but I see on the minutes I'm marked as absent.
Oh, okay, so that's another correction. So we'll get, another correction has to be that Marilyn has to be shown as present. So can that correction be made, Justin, please?
Yep, I'll mark it as amended and change it.
Okay, so that amendment, and we are noting Michael's objection, and he can vote however he would like when the vote comes up. Any other comments on the minutes? Okay, with that, I'll call the questions. All in favor of the minutes? I'm voting in favor just because I want to get this over with. Okay, all opposed? Okay, we have Marilyn's opposed, Michael's opposed. Okay, so they're still carried, right? Okay, and thank you for noting that objection. And I wholeheartedly agree with you, but okay, I want to briefly discuss what's going on with this committee. A meeting was held regarding the committee status in relation to, it was called regarding the committee status. And it was, in attendance were the mayor, the clerk, Dave Baldoni, Leslie Daniels, myself, and I believe that's it, correct, Leslie? Mm-hmm. And we discussed the status of our committee. At the meeting, it was clarified that the $3,000 that the Thorold Age-Friendly Committee budget would be transferred to Dave's Baldoni's department. Dave's title is Operations Supervisors of Parks, Cemetery, Public Works, and Community Services. And I hope Dave gets paid by the number of words in his title. And Dave's a wonderful person. And that it was agreed that the Age-Friendly Committee can continue to conduct activities projects as per prior years. Leslie was at the meeting, and Councillor O'Hare was at the meeting. Can I have confirmation from Leslie and Councillor O'Hare that that's what was agreed to at the meeting?
Yes, Yes, that's exactly. We had a lot of conversation about exactly what they meant, and I think that we went through it at least 3 times to make sure that we understood what we were being told.
And Councillor O'Hare, is that what you understood at the meeting?
Through you, Madam Chair, no. I understood that the money, the $3,000 has been earmarked for age-friendly, but it is to be accessed through community services.
Well, we didn't understand that. That was never said at the meeting. So that was never, ever mentioned at the meeting. And we left the meeting without that ever being said. That's been said subsequent to the meeting. So subsequent to the meeting, we had another back and forth we had another back and forth of emails, and I'm not doing any more. We met, we saw that was never ever said. Was community services ever mentioned at the meeting, Leslie?
No, just Dave, and we discussed the fact that this committee had been operating as having the clerk at each of our meetings, and all that changed, and I asked for clarification, was that we were not using the clerk now, we were using Dave, and things to be done the way they had been done. And
Councillor O'Hare, I am very sorry that you did not reflect what was said at that meeting, because community services was never mentioned. We had a little bit of a back and forth of some emails, and I'm not writing any more emails. And at CD Saturday, which was, Brenda's going to talk about it, we saw the mayor. And what did the mayor say, Brenda, at the meeting?
He said that we could continue to do everything through Dave Baldoni.
Okay. And that was what was said at the meeting. So, that is what we are going to do. And if there's any issues coming forward, anybody who's concerned about what we are doing, they can talk to the mayor. Because I will challenge you if if the individual who was objecting, or if the individual is now saying that this has to go to community services, that person should have spoke up clearly. You can't have a meeting, have a decision, and then have that person make up new rules after the meeting. And there is nothing in even the clerk's report that says that we have to go to, Age Friendly has to go to community services. I'm not going to discuss the report anymore. We had a meeting, and the meeting is done. And that's it. And that's all I would like to say about this, and I want to move on. So we will be forwarding our receipts to Dave Baldoni or his designate. And if anyone has any objections, then they can talk to the mayor.
Madam Chair, there are no objections from here because Dave Baldoni is the manager of community services. It's the same thing.
Okay, well then we'll go, that's fine. If we can submit our receipts to him and we don't have an issue, that's fine. Thank you. Does anybody else want to talk about this? So I'm assuming we're not going to have a problem going forward. Okay. Does anybody want to say anything else? Okay, we're moving to the next agenda item. It's reconsideration of committee schedule. This has been asked to be introduced because...
So just one item is before we get to it, we have to have a motion and a seconder to reconsider the agenda, and we'll need a 2/3 majority to talk about this topic because we already adopted this at our last meeting. So this would be a reconsideration if the committee wants to do this.
Okay, so this is just to talk about possible time change or...
Yeah, so I mean, this is to actually talk about it. So once this passes, then we get into it and we can change it and do whatever we want.
So can I have a motion? Michael moved it, Brenda seconded it. All in favor of allowing us to reopen this so we can talk about it? I can't see everybody, are there any oppositions?
I don't see any.
Did we have an opposition?
No.
Councillor O'Hara, you're opposed to discussing this?
No, Madam Chair, I had my hand up.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. So, what was I say? Okay, so there are two considerations, I believe. One is to start the meeting at 1:15, and I guess it could be three. One is to start the meeting at 1:15, which will let Michael get here pretty much for all of our meeting. Two is to have a morning meeting at 9:30, or three is to change the meeting date. I think the easiest for us is to start it at 1:15 unless somebody has an ongoing conflict with this time. Does anybody have an ongoing, sorry?
Just one small comment. If the committee wants to change it to the morning, it would have to be a different day because the Committee of Adjustment has their meetings in the morning. But if it's 1:15, that's no problem. But if it is a morning that everyone is leaning toward, then we'd have to pick a different Thursday. That's all.
Okay. So is 1:15 okay? And that'll help you be at most 90% of the meetings? Michael?
Yeah, it's better. If it does, again, I have to leave 2:15, 2:20, so longer I will have to leave. But 1:15 is a 15-minute better window for me.
Okay,
Thank you.
Anise, you had a comment? Oh, you have to put your mic.
No, actually 1:15 works for me as well.
Okay. So can we make that slight adjustment and then it'll just make everything, because you want a motion, don't you?
Is it a mover and seconder and then vote on it?
Okay, so a mover and a seconder that we start the meeting at 1:15. Michael will move it. Barb will second it. Can I call the question? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, so we'll start the meetings at 1:15. We'll try to keep our meetings with a half an hour, 45 minutes at the most. Okay, Senior of the Year. We talked about a working group, and it was Leslie, Brenda, and Michael. We'll have to get together and start Senior of the Year process. I'll call you, and we'll try to set up a little date. I'll revise the documents for that we had last year as a starting point for discussion, okay? We're going to have Senior of the Year as part of the celebrations for the 40th anniversary of the Senior Citizen Center. And that's going to be great. That's on June 15th. And Brenda's already got things started for that, and it's going to be a great event. I also wanted to have the flag raising on June 3rd, which is, in this it says June 3rd, but we're going to incorporate the flag raising also into the June 15th. We always have, we have a age-friendly flag, and we're going to raise it. And so we'll have the age-friendly flag raising at that event, and we won't have it on June 3rd, okay? So we'll get together and we'll discuss it. We may we may be discussing maybe increasing the number of people we recognize this year, this special year. And I hope there won't be any problems in getting the nominees for the committee to review. We did have a little snag last year with that. I'm hoping we don't, because if we do have any little snags, we'll turn it over to whatever staff person wants to run this. They can run it. So hopefully that'll go as smoothly as it has in prior years. And it's always great we have so many people in the city to recognize who've done volunteer for years and years and years. Okay, so we'll get our working group. I'm hoping next week sometime. Okay, next week we'll figure out a day. Okay, the Niagara Older Adult Alliance meeting, which is February 29th. For the members who were on Age Friendly before COVID, we were really, as a region, we were really gaining momentum. As all the Age Friendly committees were really sharing information. They were rotating, having different information sessions, regional information sessions, and then COVID hit. And it really kind of killed all that momentum that we had built. And I think we were Thorold Age Friendly was one of the few committees that had, Thorold Age Friendly was one of the few committees that kept meeting during COVID. And we actually did some things like the calendar and things like that. So this is the first time that we are having this. The agenda is attached. It'll basically be an information sharing meeting, and I see a lot of you have signed up for it, and I really appreciate. I hope as many of you can come as possible. I also need a volunteer. Ursula, we have a volunteer for the registration table, but if one of you would like to help at the registration table at 8:30, I would appreciate it. If you don't want to volunteer now, if you can let me know afterwards. You can't volunteer. So if you, Joey, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm not good with computers. I'll volunteer. I think I did it last time.
You did it last time.
Had the Niagara Older Adults, but yeah, I can be there for 8:30.
Okay, if you can do that, that would be most appreciated, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so, and you'll have Ursula with you. She's from CARP Niagara, okay? So it's great. So we'll get to meet some of the new people that are on these age-friendly committees, and I think it should be a great morning. What we are going to do is the Senior Center is going to be supplying, and I'll work with Brenda on this, but coffee and tea and water, and then we're going to have things like muffins and fruit and things like that for possibly at least for the breaks. We'll have coffee coming in too, and we'll figure out a price with Brenda, like $5 a person, $6 a person. I don't know. We'll see what it costs, and we'll figure out a price with Brenda on what to charge, and we'll do on a per person basis. And then, and we're also going to be spending $50 for somebody to be responsible for our AV, to make sure that the screen works, the sound system works. We don't want what happened at our wonderful William Thomas event to happen again. So we are paying someone $50 to be there and make sure all our technology is working. And I think that's $50 well spent to be there for 3 hours with us. So that'll be the rough cost. I don't know what exactly it'll be because it'll be dependent on the number of people there. As I said, we'll be charging $5, $6, $7. I don't know. I'll have to work it out with Brenda, a person. And that's really good. Even at $7 a person, you can't get a cup of coffee for under $3 or $2.50 at most places. So, and they'll get muffins and other treats there. And then afterwards, St. Catherine's is going to host a forum in the fall. And the forums are usually rotated between the various committees. And since we are the most mature committee right now, that's why we're hosting the first one. Okay, any questions about the forum? Just sign up if you haven't signed up. Thank you. And I'm going to send an invitation to Justin and to our clerk. And I really hope that one or both of them can attend, because it's really important that, in my mind, that staff who come from outside the community learn about what some of these committees in Thorold do and what they do for the municipality. But I will send the invitation to them, and if they can come, they are very welcome. Okay, is there any question about the agenda? Does anybody want to talk about anything else about the Niagara Older Adult Forum? Okay. Anyone want to talk about it? No. Okay, so nothing. All right, thank you. So we're going to go to round table, and I'm going to start the round table. Oh, no. Okay, we're going to go to round table. No, I'm not going to start it because I'll just talk about the community events later. Okay, the round table. So can I we'll start in order. Barb, do you have anything for the round table? No. Brenda?
Yes, I'd like to talk about the Senior Active Living Fair. We received a grant through OACAO, and we'll be having our Senior Active Living Fair on March 15th from 10 o'clock a.m. till 2 o'clock p.m. We're expecting quite a few people from the provincial government to be there. CRA will be there. Just numerous amounts. We'll probably have 25 vendors altogether. There'll be demonstrations, including checkups for any senior that comes in would like to have their blood pressure checked or their hearing checked. They'll be able to do it on that day. They'll also get some free massages. We're going to have the Trillium College come back. There's going to be 8 massage therapists who will do both the massages, and they will also do the checks, the blood pressure checks. That day we'll have food there, part and parcel. We'll have sandwich lunches, all pre-bagged for people coming in. You'll receive a bag at the door, and then of course you collect your information throughout the day. So that will be 10 to 2. We have presentations for elder abuse on that day. We have presentations from a memorial service and from the CRA. Plus we have scams, somebody to come and talk about the scams. So that's our living fair, and that will be again on the 15th of March from 10 to 2. Then we have our 40th anniversary party, a big bash that we want to have. We also would like to have a beer and wine tent. There's going to be plenty of things for kids to do as well as the seniors to do. We have the Seniors of the Year Award, which we will present, and we'll also do the flag raising on that day. But there's a lot of things that are still in process for the seniors anniversary bash.
And it will be a multi-generation. It'll be a multi-generational event right?
Absolutely. Everybody will be welcome. There'll be kids there. We have a lot of games for the kids, face painting for the kids. There's just a numerous amount of things for the kids to do.
My turn. We had a very successful CAD Saturday. at the senior center this last Saturday. There were more than 400 people that came through. Vendors were delighted. One vendor told me she had talked to 110 people, which is amazing considering we had 15 vendors. So that's pretty good. And it's the first time we've run CD Saturdays. So we learn things will change, but it was successful. We've got lots of pictures. I now can get the OHA grant because we've undertaken it, and everybody helped. So it was a community affair, and I'm looking forward to it for next year, not to have to start today and plan it, but tomorrow. So on February 21st, a Wednesday, we are holding the Thorold Garden Club 95th anniversary in the community. We have Bruce McKenzie coming to talk to us about the Frog Pond and wetlands and naturalized areas and whether or not you can create a natural area like what was destroyed when they bulldozed the Frog Pond. He was Grimsby's Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority representative, and he is an expert in wetlands, so it should be an interesting meeting, and we'll have cake. That's how I'm selling it. We're going to have cake. Okay, so the next thing that we'll be doing is with the senior center is we, as the senior center, are going to have a St. Patrick's Day party starting at 5:30 on the Friday, the 15th. Brian Daniels, who's my brother-in-law, he is a musician, so is my husband and my son. And they go out and entertain at seniors' homes and so on. With everyone wants to be Irish on St. Patrick's Day. So Brian says that's the only time people know he's still alive. So they'll be playing some music. We will have food, and it should be lots of fun. It'll start at 5:30, probably end about 8:30 on the Friday evening. And there will be green apple juice for those that don't drink beer, and we'll have a liquor license. So it should be interesting and lots of fun. What else? That's about all for me right now. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go back to you. Okay, and CD Saturday was a phenomenal success. Michael, do you have anything for Roundtable?
I do. If this would be in one of your emails before this meeting, you had mentioned bring ideas.
Yes.
So I have an idea. Is this
Actually, can we leave that? Is it like an event or something that we can do?
an event, but not till July, so I think we've got some time.
Why don't we talk about it when we talk about our community events and project updates? Can we do that?
Sure can.
Because, and we can maybe include it on the list. Okay, thank you, and don't forget that. Anise?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, you don't have any okay. Joey?
I wanted to bring up again font size on signs so that it keeps getting reprinted on the agenda and the roundtable. We still haven't heard any movement on this issue ongoing since February of last year. Just hoping that we'll hear something in the near future and not have to wait another year for a response.
Oh, Justin has an update, so can we have your update, please? It would be most appreciated.
So yeah, I have an update for that agenda item on number 10. Sean Dunsmore advised that they're having some difficulties getting quotes for various reasons, and he says that he will have some more information at the next meeting, he told me. So
Thank you.
That is the best news we've heard in ages. That's wonderful. And thank you for relaying that, Justin. Yeah, Michael?
Just a question. I know this has been on, it never comes to fruition. So these are city signs, obviously. That's what we would have, the city would have control over. So are we talking street signs?
Street signs.
We're talking signs, entrance signs at public buildings, the community center, the senior center. We're talking about any kind of signage to increase the actual size of the...
I think we were talking about street signs. We didn't include other signs. I don't think that was our original intent, was new or replacement street signs. Because they're very hard to see at night.
They are, for me.
Yeah. And we didn't want to have an extra cost to the city, like replace all the street signs. That's illogical. But we thought when there was a new subdivision or where there is a street sign replaced, that some policy be established that those replacements or new street signs have a larger font and a more visible font.
Right. Just regarding that, fonts, I mean, there's a million fonts. Has there ever been a study done? What is the best actual typeface for street signs to be visible?
There are certain fonts that are more readable and more older adult friendly and everybody friendly, and those fonts are readily, like
okay, so it's part of the package.
It should be part of the package.
Okay,
but it's street signs. If somebody wants to correct me, please do so. But it was street signs that we were talking about. Okay. All right. Did you want to say anything else, Michael? No. Okay. Who do I? Marilyn?
I have nothing today.
Councillor O'Hare?
Nothing to add.
Okay. Justin, do you have anything for us?
I do not.
Jacob, do you have anything for us?
Sure. Just to mention that there was a survey that I dropped off at the Senior Center with Brenda the other week. We were just looking for feedback on our public skating programs, giving people an opportunity to suggest alternative programs or other times if people were interested. And then just a friendly reminder to everyone that we do have our 55+ skate and social Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11:30 to 1 at the arena, as well as Wednesdays there's a 45+ shinny, which is pickup hockey for anyone that's interested.
Can I make a suggestion that you make up a poster for the 55+ or whatever?
Yeah, we have a couple at the arena, but I can drop some off.
Because we have a whiteboard and we have boards that people read all the time, and maybe Brenda can even put something in her next newsletter on this.
Of course, I will. Thank you very much.
Yeah, those kinds of things, drop the posters off.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, my last thing that I want to say is I just want to thank the Senior Center for the great job they're doing. I also want to thank the partnerships that are really blossoming in this community between the TCAG, the Garden Club, the Thorold Library, and Age Friendly. And that center is being used in multi-generational purposes. And the most that I've ever seen. I call bingo once a month to help out the center, and at the end of bingo was about 3:30. There were a bunch of little kids coming in, and what were the kids coming into the senior center for? Well, Rebecca from the library held a cooking class for these little kids, and it was wonderful to see them. On Sunday, they had to clean up the main room out of the tables and stuff, because the room had to be cleared up because there was a dance. What's the dance group called? Your Mike?
The dance group, the Senior Filipino Association from Niagara Falls, uses our facilities every Sunday because they're preparing for a very big dance competition, salsa and ballroom. They're wonderful, absolutely wonderful people to work with, and they're there every Sunday. And
I'm hoping that before too long, we got a grant, as everybody knows. The TCAG got a grant in partnership with the Garden Club Age-Friendly Library, and I'm hoping that we can appear before council and just give you a summary of what that grant has started in this municipality. I hope we can, because I think if we don't tell you, you just don't know what's going on in this wonderful community. And the other thing I want to say is I do want to thank the mayor and Councillor O'Hare. In my mind, this matter with Age-Friendly is resolved. And I says if there isn't if some people think there isn't a resolution to it, then that the mayor deal with it. And I want to thank the seniors at the senior center, because we had a petition going, and some of them were ready to come here at a meeting if we had to. And we had a lot of names on that petition. We've destroyed it now, and we're not going to start another one. We've destroyed it now, but we had a lot of names on that petition. So I want to thank all the support we got from the seniors. And Brenda forgot about one other little thing, the Grand Pal grant. I don't know if we're going to get it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, there was a grant that's available now for seniors to work with the young kids at grade 5 level, 4 or 5, in the middle schools. And so we've applied for the grant. We're hoping that we get the grant. And it kind of marries up some of the seniors who were teachers or worked in past with children in some way or shape or form. And together we marry them, and they become buddies, grand pals with each other. So this is really opening, it's just opening the gate for us, actually, so that we can work with the kids together. It's been just a fantastic time having the kids come to cook in the classes and use the kitchen, utilize our site. It's always been for seniors, but lately we've been including pretty well everybody to come in. We're working with pretty well anybody and everybody in the area. I also, just a quick mention to Councillor O'Hare, thank you for CD Saturday. You continued to post for us on the Facebook about how wonderful things are going on CD Saturday, and I think we got a lot of response from just those posts that you put, so thank you very much for doing that.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm really glad I did the research when you sent out the email about the Grand Palace, so I did some research into it. I'm really glad, Brenda, that you have put in the application. I know that the application process is still open. There was only 2 openings. They're only going to give $7,500 to 2 groups. It had to be a community group, so that's great. You jumped on board. But my understanding is they're in British Columbia, Ontario, several provinces. So that's 2 Canada-wide, correct? Yeah. So any idea how many other community groups Canada-wide have?
None. No, they don't give us a heads up with that.
So
no.
I think it's great. I would volunteer. I was a teacher for many years. I was a minor league coach for many years, so I love youth. As a school crossing guard, I see kids every day, so I would be more than happy to go into grade 5. And
I remember, Michael, that you told me you were a school teacher, so I put your name on the list already.
Anyways, that's great. So yeah, good luck with that.
Thank you.
With only 2 basic grants across the country.
Yes.
Our chances would be pretty slim, but slim's better than none.
That's
Thanks.
for sure.
Okay, so now we're done with roundtable, I think. Okay, now we're going to go to community events. Why don't you talk about your project first, just in case you have to leave, Michael?
And I will soon have to leave. Yes. So last year with Canada Day. Oh, go ahead. It is. Can you hear me? You hear me, everybody? Okay. Yeah, so anyways, Canada Day, usually I moved to Thorold 6 years ago, and a lot of Canada Day festivities. I've got family mostly in St. Catharines and elsewhere, so I end up going into those communities for Canada Day. But last Canada Day, I walked over to the Battle of Beaver Dams Park and participated in our Thorold Canada Day. I was there during the day, and then I went back for the fireworks at night. And I noticed, there's, in addition to the food trucks, there were some, not many, but some community tents. The city of Thorold was there. I think there was one or two others, but I didn't notice any senior presence at all. I was wondering if, we could consider maybe having a little tent with a couple tables, maybe rack cards, something to give away, just a presence that people know we exist. There's a lot of seniors there, a lot of grandparents with kids and stuff, so I think it would be very advantageous if we had a presence on Canada Day. And I would volunteer to, be at one of the tents, or at the tent for an hour or several hours, just for consideration.
I think that's a wonderful idea for us to think about. I think there would probably we could probably have our own tent, or like with the senior, the garden club, the library, we can talk about that. We might even be able to just join in with the city tent too. So we'll have a better presence.
We'll just have a presence this year, Michael. We were right beside the city tent this year. It happened, there was some confusion, I think, prior to that, but we ended up getting a table there. We were there pretty well most of the day. And the St. John's Anglican Church was on the other side of us, and the city was on one side. And
okay.
Yeah,
I missed it.
We were kind of squished in there.
And I would actually distance myself from the city. Because if you're in with the city, a lot of seniors they don't equate the city with.
No, we were beside them.
Yeah,
they were in another tent. We had a tent and we had a couple of tables. So yeah.
It's a bigger bang, maybe kind of.
Most definitely. I think that's the first time we've been there in a number of years.
Yeah, just a big sign is we're old, we're bold.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know, just
And we're still kicking.
Yes.
Okay, so that's noted, and we'll add that to our list of things, okay? That's a very good comment. Joey?
Michael just mentioned rack cards, and I'm just wondering what the status is of our rack cards. Have they gone out and been distributed yet?
We have been distributing the rack cards at events that we have. The senior center has some. We have some at the senior center has some. The TCAG has some. I will drop some off at the library. I forgot last time I was at the library. I'll drop some off at the library. Right now, those are the three places, but we should try to look at dropping some off in Port Robinson too, I would think. If you have any other suggestions of where to drop them off, please let me know. We don't have a lot of them, and I do want to leave some of them for these community events that we're having, because there is a lot coming up in the next little while. So I do want to leave. We don't have a lot. Unfortunately, we had some at City Hall that went missing, and that was unfortunate. I don't want to talk about that too much, but they did go missing, and it was a considerable number considering the number we ordered. And that was unfortunate.
Thank you.
So, okay, so any new, okay, thank you so much. So we'll start at 1:15. So some of the other events, we want to talk about the events, and this is not an exhaustive list, so if you've got an idea at another meeting, I just wanted to put some things for discussion to talk about. The first one is happening on the 29th. The wrong name appears due to my fault on the agenda. It's the Niagara Older Adult Alliance meeting. That's the 29th. Then we've got the St. Patrick's event, and I'm hoping that we can give some money towards that event. I don't know what the procedure is anymore, so I am suggesting that we give $100 towards the St. Patrick's Day event. If there's any objections, let me hear it. If not, when we send the invoice for the forum, we'll include in that invoice $100 for the St. Patrick's event, and that will help them with some of the food, and will help them with some of the decorations, and just $100 doesn't go far these days. So, does anybody have any objections to supporting that event? Okay, as we said, flag raising isn't going to happen on June 3rd. It's going to be part of the 40th anniversary. this is from the grant, the TCAG grant, the partnership grant. There's going to be a forum. We're just in the process of organizing it. It's going to be either the first week in June. Well, I'll give you more information at the next meeting, or it's going to be the last week in June. This forum is, the monies for that is coming mostly out of the grant that we got, the joint grant, and it'll be 3 speakers. The morning, we're planning on right now we're thinking about having it at one of the facilities in Thorold, like Club Capri or Belvedere, or one of the facilities in Thorold. That's our thoughts. We were going to have the 3 speakers and a comedian to end the morning, and then we're going to have a light lunch. And if we charge a fee for it, it'll be a nominal fee, like $5. So because this is in the planning stages, I don't have a lot of information on it, and most of that money will come out of that the grant that the TCAG got, and it'll be a good event. I'm hoping that this committee is going to consider allowing the August swim and movie night that we've had for the last few years, because that's gone very well. Hope we can consider another supplying one bus for another bus trip, and getting some money from somebody else to do a second bus trip somewhere. This is one that I wish I should have talked about it when Michael was here. And this is we'll talk about it further. I'm hoping we can have a fall forum, and it doesn't have to be on housing. The only reason I put housing is because housing is so topical right now. And I want to get a working group going to talk about it. It would be in the fall. It would be in probably October or November. And it would be to discuss some of the issues of housing, but tailor it to Thorold. And maybe we could have speakers, from, again, nonprofit housing, somebody to speak on varied housing options for older adults. You don't have to live in an apartment or just... there are all kinds of other options, even communal living, like where you have a room and a shared kitchen. That's not for everybody, but that is for some people. So like a forum to discuss about this, maybe to discuss about what are some of the housing issues in Thorold. So maybe we can have a further discussion about that at our next meeting. If you don't like housing as a topic, and you think socialization should be the topic, or you think accessibility should be the topic. So I want to have a fall forum specific to Thorold. One of the topics may be housing, but that's not etched in stone. And we'll talk about it further at the next meeting and see if we can get a small working group to decide what the topic is and who might want to do it on the working group. And you have lots of time to do it if it's in the fall. The other thing we always do is the Christmas luncheon. We always do something for the Christmas luncheon, so I'm hoping that's in here. If we have money left at the end of the year, I would like to order another 1,000 or 2,000 rack cards, but we'll leave that to the end of the year if we have money. I want to buy 30, like we got a whole pile of free cookbooks, but I want to buy 20 to 30 cookbooks. I want to have one cookbook, at each table at the forum. I want to have a cookbook, just one per table, and then maybe we'll give the person at the table whose birthday is closest to February 29th will get the cookbook, just to show them what a joint project is. And although we got a bunch of free ones, we did get a lot of free ones. And I think Anise hasn't got a cookbook yet. I think everybody else does. I have a cookbook, and Caesar doesn't. I have a cookbook for you, Anise. But everybody else, I think, received a cookbook. So I want to buy some cookbooks at $5 a cookbook. And then I want you to think about some novelty items. I had put some suggested prices on here, but that was taken off. Again, let's not dwell on process. Let's just move on. So that's where we're at. And now we're going to add the Canada Day suggestion. So Canada Day presents, older adult presents, or greater presence, so we'll add that on. So this is some kind of an initial list, and I'm looking for other ideas like the Canada Day one if anybody has one, and I'm specifically looking for something for the fall forum at our next meeting. Does anybody want to comment on these things or add to it? Oh, sorry.
Jean, can you send us an email just with that list of that you've just read out and adding the Canada Day thing on it, just so we can actually see it in front of us? Please. Just want the list.
I'll send her the agenda and she can see the list, okay? And then in our minutes, it'll have the revised, it'll have, in our minutes for next month, it will have that and the new Canada Day, right, Justin?
Yeah, I added the Canada Day suggestion on there.
Okay. So I'll make sure she gets it, okay? I'll make sure she gets it. But it's in our package today. So is there anything more on that? And any ideas are always welcome. New ideas are really welcome. Now we have outstanding font size. That's done, and I really appreciate Justin. And I do want to thank Justin for all his support to this committee. Justin, you have been wonderful. Okay, our next meeting, Justin, do you know when it is? It's March.
1 second. The 21st.
March 21st? Okay, thank you. Okay, so if there's nothing else, I'm going to call an adjournment. I thank you all. I think it was good. I'll call a motion to adjourn. Can I have someone move? Joey, Brenda are the movers. I'll call the question. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Thank you. Have a great week. Have a great month.